Hey everyone, how are all of you? How are all of you tonight? I'm a little late, like 45 minutes or so, but you know, it's Saturday and it's a really beautiful day outside, and I was outside with the doggies earlier. Hi, Yvonne, how are you? Do me a favor, so as I see you come up, if all of you could just toss me a heart or a thumbs up, if you could hit that button so I know that you can hear me well. Hi, Kenny, how are you? Hi, Alex, how are you? That's my favorite name. That's my nephew's name. So today is Detox Q&A, and I'm so glad I put a Facebook Live schedule on my blog on andreacox.com, because I was going to do something else. You know, I was going to talk about something else. I'm totally enthralled in tarot, and I pulled a King of Pentacles card today, and I was going to bring it out and show, you know, a King of Pentacles unbalanced and the foods that need to balance them. But I thought, you know what? No, we're just going to, thanks for all the hearts, you guys. I appreciate that. We're just going to do Detox Q&A. So here is the thing. The quicker you guys post your questions in the comment section, go ahead and tell me where you're from, and then post your question on health, detoxification, natural beauty remedies, anything you want to ask. Probably stop this video in about 15 minutes. So if you have a question, definitely get it in there. I'm going to do a little hello right here. Yay. Hi, Jesus. Hi, Jill. Hi, Jeffrey. Okay, so I'm going to grab my phone, and you guys, if you guys don't ask questions, you know what happens. I just go bye-bye, but usually you guys are pretty good at asking questions. Sorry about the low energy. You guys know my neck has been bothering me for a while now, and it really has been acting up, and today's probably the worst it's been. And those of you with a neck injury, you know that that just sucks the life out of you. So sorry about that. Someone asked about colonics. I saw that. Okay, I like all the hellos, but we need your detoxification questions. I like that you tell me I look pretty. I like all of that stuff, but we need your detoxification questions because it's a beautiful day out, and I don't want to kind of stay stuck in the house any longer than I have to. So I came home. Chi machine. I have a chi machine, Ty. Actually, I have a chi machine I've had for about 7 years now, but that's not for your neck. That's, you put your feet up. We'll start with that. Okay, hello, New York. So a chi machine is actually to move the lymphatic fluid in the body. It's a device that you put your feet on, and it just moves the body back and forth because lymph moves from side to side. It's fluid, and the lymph does not move on its own. So the only way to move the lymph is to do something like a chi machine, or to jump up and down on a rebounder is the best way. Running's also good, although it's actually hard on the face and it's hard on the body. To be an avid runner, and I don't run anymore just because it's so hard on the body. It's really aging to the body. What are the side effects of colonics? Beautiful glowing skin, a clear colon, reduction rate because especially if you do the coffee colonics. Let me see your name, Jason. Especially if you do the coffee colonics, because what the coffee colonics do is they stimulate the portal vein to release old bile from the liver. So everything gets released, all the toxins get released into the water. Colonics do not hurt. Colonics are probably one of the most natural things you can do. People, you know, the Egyptians used to do colonics. They've looked at the writing in the caves, etc. The Egyptians used to do colonics. They've been around for years and years and years. My grandma was big into enemas and things. That's probably where I got the idea from. But No, you know, if you've been in the vegan community, the raw community, any length of time, you know, you're going to eventually want to do colonics. If you're not plant-based and you do a colonic, it's going to be more difficult to get things out, because basically anything that is not, thanks for all the hearts, you guys, anything that is not a fruit or a vegetable creates something along the colon walls called mucoid plaque. So with the mucoid plaque, basically it sticks to the colon walls like brick and mortar. And during a colonic, it comes out like hockey pucks. It's an absolute nightmare. So, you know, just remember that the next time you're eating Cheetos, the next time you're eating, like, you know, a burger, you know, dead animals, that's the worst for dairy. You know, it's going to really stick to the colon walls. Try colonics a few times, not sure it did much. If your insurance is Triphala, should try. I like Triphala, Jeffrey, Triphala. It's a Ayurvedic herb. It's an Indian herb that people use to use the bathroom. And I have an amazing product on AndreaCox.com that I created, Colon Smooth. Oh, it's not called Colon Smooth anymore. It's not Smiling Gut Probiotic. Oh my gosh, you guys, this is a bad neck day if I'm forgetting one of my major products. Yeah, it's Andrea's Colon Smooth. Andrea's Colon Smooth. And it's got some medicinal herbs in there that are all natural, that it's like a colonic in a bottle. Triphala isn't my favorite one because you have to take Triphala like at a certain time of day in order to get it to work. And it's like before dinner at the same time every day. It's kind of a different one. It's kind of iffy. All the Ayurvedic herbs are kind of like that. They're hit or miss depending on your lineage, etc. The thing about colonics, you said you didn't have the best experience. I guarantee you're not plant-based, or you hadn't been plant-based for like a period of 6 months prior to doing a colonic. And here's why. When we get a colonic, folks, there's a reason it's called high colonic. It gets right underneath the breast, right here, right underneath the breastbone. And it cleans the entire, there's something like 36 feet of wound up, your colon winds like a cord, and it's all just sitting here. There's 36 feet of it. There's no other way to push old stuck mucoid plaque through the colon walls if you don't get a colonic. There's nothing else you can do. Now, I'm not currently getting colonics only because I had to put on weight recently because I got a little too thin, and you know, colonics will, if you have any weight to lose, they will get that off of you. I guarantee you, I don't remember your name, Jeffrey, you weren't vegan. So comment below, had you been vegan for 6 months to a year prior to getting a series of colonics? Another thing about colonics, and this is my pet peeve with colon hydrotherapists. They do have to sell a package because they do have to make money. I don't believe getting back to back colonics is a good idea. When you're first starting out, one a week, then going to one a month, then one every 3 months, then one every 6 months is much, much better. On the flip side of that, if it's not in your, sorry you guys, my neck is so painful today and it's really taking my energy. On the flip side of that, if you are not wanting to spend that type of money, if you don't have the time, maybe you have a demanding job or something of that nature, and you want to clean the colon, coffee enemas are stellar, absolutely stellar. Here's the thing with the coffee enema. You must, it's a must, do organic coffee, specifically coffee, made for enemas, because coffee is the most sprayed herb or sprayed bean there is. So if you can Google that or whatever, coffee is highly sprayed with pesticides, the coffee bean is. So you definitely want, at the very minimum, to do organic coffee. I've noticed I think it was when I was out of the country, when I was like in Mexico or something, a few times we were out of coffee and my friend would go and get coffee, and when he would bring it back, I knew it wasn't organic because I would do the enema and I would just feel like worse. And the only time that happens is if you're highly toxic, which, come on, you guys, really? I'm like about as toxic as a banana. Or if you're doing it with non-organic coffee, which you just should not do. But what happens with the coffee enema is they stimulate the portal vein to release old bile from the liver. I'm going to take another question. Hi, Michael, my favorite person. Does fruit feed yeast, candida, and parasites? How would you detox? You know the answer to this. Thanks for your question, Jeffrey. Thanks for your question, Michael. Elizabeth, I'll get to yours next. Does fruit feed yeast and candida? Let's address that first. That's a common myth, okay? And I think the problem is that there's a lot of natural hygiene, detox specialists out there that are pushing high fruit diets, and they don't really look the part. And when I say they don't look the part, I mean they've, and there's one in particular, he's got he looks out of shape. And so people don't follow it, but it's actually true. High fruit, not mixing the fruit with things like nuts and seeds or dairy or all that nonsense is an excellent way to actually detox the body off of candida. So, if you go to a doctor, they'll say, oh, candida, you have candida. We've got to take away all your fruit. We've got to put you on, oil of oregano. If you go to a holistic practitioner, they'll be like, oh, no sugar, don't do any sugar. If you go to a regular doctor, they'll just basically tell you to eat a high protein diet. That's actually mega bullshit. Those people need to be lined up and taken out. That's like, no. And when I say taken out, I mean taken out of their field. Eating mono fruit meals or fruit on an empty stomach is ideal to rid the body of yeast and candida, despite popular belief. Reason being is, you can't put fruit in a cesspool. You can't put fruit on top of meat or anything else. However, when you eat fruit first thing in the morning on an empty body, you've already had your bowel movement. It goes right through you. It's like taking a broom and scrubbing your colon. It's kind of a natural way to have a colonic, right? Okay, let's see. We are rolling. What was the second part to your question was, how would you detox? Okay, so your question was, does fruit feed yeast? No, unless you combine it with bullshit. If you combine fruit with nuts, seeds, things of that nature, it's going to ferment, okay? So you guys listen to me real quick. I always use this analogy with everyone in my life, and they get sick of me. I'm like a walking encyclopedia. Imagine your stomach is a pull-out trash can, right? Pull-out trash can, okay? Imagine you eat, like, say, something that's bullshit that I wouldn't touch, like a chicken salad for lunch. Imagine you eat that. You put the scraps in the pull-out trash can, you close the pull-out trash can, you come back a few hours later, and you just eat an apple. You put that in the pull-out trash can, you close the pull-out trash can. Well, if you come back 2 hours later, you're gonna open that pull-out trash can and it's gonna smell. It's gonna smell because the items are fermenting. That's what happens in the gut. We've got to eat the live foods, the fresh fruits, the organic juices first, and the bad stuff towards the end of the day. Now, again, that is, despite popular belief. People say eat breakfast like a king, again, they all need to be lined up, and, it's ridiculous. And what amazes me, and what's a really beautiful thing is, when I first moved to San Diego like 7 years ago, gosh, I would go to get like IV therapy at I won't say, but places in Encinitas or, these holistic healthy places, and they wouldn't have a clue about nutrition. They were pushing high protein, you need to eat bison, you need to eat, red meat, you're an O blood type, you need to eat this. Yeah, you need to get cancer because that's what'll happen. Watch What the Health. Those doctors know what they're talking about. I actually sat next to the executive producer of that at a dinner back in August, and we talked. He's an ethical vegan, and you know, they've done studies that prove that eating dead, decomposing animals will lead to cancer, that eggs are linked to cancer. Do the research. Look at all, you know, the angst that goes into killing these animals. You know, there's a reason we need to come on. I mean, Richard Branson just said that something like in 2000 something, eating meat will be considered like, you know, the past. And thank God, because when I went vegan in Ohio over a decade ago, people thought I was fucking nuts. People were just like, what is she doing? And I think my mom's the only person, my mom and I have a girlfriend named Connie. I think they were the only two people that knew I knew what I was doing. The only two. Like my sisters thought I was crazy, both my sisters. I mean, you get really skinny when you go vegan for the first time, so I did look a little scary. But it was literally the first time in my life. You know, those of you who know my story, I suffered with an eating disorder as a fitness model in my 20s. It was the first time in my life that I didn't have an eating disorder because I was eating such amazing foods like avocados, all this healthy fat and fresh fruits and these soups and, you know, vegan chocolate. I could eat all of this stuff and as much as I wanted and maintain my size. And I was like, yeah. And I think my mom and my girlfriend Connie are the only two people that were like, you know what? She's on to something. She knows what she's doing. Okay, so let's see. Wow, we've got a lot of questions. Okay, Michael, I'm still on Michael's question. Michael's getting all the attention. I'm gonna get to the other questions. Does fruit feed yeast? No, if you eat it in the right combinations at the right time of day. You guys share this video, hit the share button. If you share this video, I'll send you my Juicing for Beauty book free, but you gotta keep it shared. So share it to groups, vegan groups, regular groups, share it to health groups, share it on your page, hit the share button. Thank you. Does it feed parasites? Does fruit feed yeast, candida, and parasites? No on the yeast and candida. The parasites are a different story. So parasites will feed off of any type of sugar. We all have parasites, okay? All of us do. I would strongly suggest getting all 4 of my supplement products on my website and visiting Dr. Morris and getting his parasite protocol. All of that together, excellent. To rebuild, my products will, you know, they're mineral based, they're from the earth, they're clay based. Also my pro and prebiotic is from the earth, it's excellent. I also sell David Jubb's live colloid on there that'll wipe out any parasite. So that's andreacox.com. Someone please post the link to that in the comments section. I will be so grateful. But, you know, probiotics and prebiotics are huge when it comes to parasites. And people don't understand this. People think, oh, you know, it's parasites, I'll take wormwood. Well, what they don't understand is wormwood kind of cuts off the head of a parasite and leaves the parasite's body that still does damage. So you want to make sure you get the right kind of supplements to kill parasites. And you want to really, really double up on your probiotics and your prebiotics. Okay. It's not all about just the killing them with the herbs. That never works. But again, colonics. Colonics are excellent for that, especially if you can find someone that does an alkaline colonic. Somebody that does an alkaline colonic is that uses the alkaline water, like where it bubbles up in the machine. They used to have a place in Encinitas. They no longer have that machine. I think even the establishment doesn't do colonics anymore, but that's when you really kill the bugs because parasites hate an alkaline environment. So again, lots of greens, things of that nature. The worst thing someone can do when they have a parasite, and I know someone who did this, before I met him though, because I wouldn't have allowed it to happen. The worst thing someone can do I'm sorry. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. I don't know what's going on with that. The worst thing someone can do when they have parasites is go on an antibiotic, which most people are given some type of harsh antibiotic or, you know, pill to kill the parasites. all that does is ruin your gut flora and give you major, major, major candida afterwards. Like you're like screwed for a good 5 years after that. So you don't want to do that. Elizabeth, how often should one be doing colonics to gain full benefits and positive side effects? Again, it depends on where you're at on your journey. I would suggest before you even get a colonic to order the coffee and start doing the coffee enemas to just get used to, you know, that feeling. If you can tolerate those, then definitely move on to colonics. You know, incorporate them both. It's a financial thing for a lot of people. So I used to get them when I first went raw, when I first went vegan, I would get them every week. I was such a massive amount of gas. Like I would be like, my stomach would be like, my stomach's flat as a board now, you guys. I can eat a huge meal and it's like, whoop, flat board. When I first went vegan, well, when I was eating dead animals as a fitness model, I would eat, my stomach would be bloated, I'd be gassy, it was disgusting. When I transitioned onto a plant-based raw diet, I was 100% raw for 10 years while living in Ohio and as I moved here. Gas, because your body is on a constant detox. But once that detox was over, that's when I was able to kind of relax on the colonics. So to answer your question, I would prefer a person to go plant-based first and start with coffee enemas and then go from there. And maybe, you know, 1 a month would be good. Don't have anything health-wise going on, 1 every 3 months. You know, what I'm going to tell you is going to be extreme. You know, I'm going to tell you if you have the money, 1 a week. You know, I'm going to tell you to, yeah. Have a great weekend. Be safe when you go outside. Kimberly, you said that on yesterday's video, and I have to be honest with you. I love that you're saying you be safe when you go outside too, but I feel like that's fear-based. I'm sorry. I mean, aren't we all should feel safe when we go outside, I guess. Okay, thank you, Kimberly. I appreciate that. Should one, I don't know what that means, Elizabeth. Tell me below. I'm definitely not vegan. Jeffrey answered the question. He's the one that didn't have a good experience getting a colonic. That's why, because you aren't plant-based. You have to be vegan. I guarantee you, if you were eating dairy or anything of that nature, Jeffrey, you were clogged. You were clogged, sweetheart. You were clogged. Are you, if you are? Hello from New York. That's my favorite place. I just talked to my friend earlier that just flew in there for a meeting. Who's this guy? Looks good tonight. Looks like I don't have a name. That's great. Looks good tonight. Yeah. Hey, Deanna Bramble. How are you, beautiful friend? Yeah, Jeffrey, the eggs, it is, watch What the Health. They talk about the whole egg can. A lot of people are like, well, I'm vegan, but I do fish. Or I'm vegan, but I do eat eggs because I need eggs. I need that protein. I need those B vitamins. You don't need shit. You do not need anything from an animal or an animal's or any byproducts of animals. And that's a fact. I mean, do I look like I'm struggling like with weight or like with my hair or anything? I'm not, I assure you. Or trust me, I'm not. And, you know, I don't take a shit ton of supplements. I actually rotate on and off of my own supplements and don't even take those very often anymore. Okay, let me see here. Awesome. Elizabeth, go to sawilson.com and order that coffee. Hey, Steve Factor, fist bump, boom. Everybody go follow Steve Factor. He's my friend, good raw food vegan. He has a great coaching program, great food program. With these questions. So I answered, how often should one do colonics to gain full benefits? Hello, do you know about energy? I absolutely know about energy. What is your question? What is an ion? I think you mean cleanse. What you mean? I've been on here a good amount of time. So, yeah, Russell. Russell says he concurs. Fruit in a separate meal from protein. Myth of complete meal. Yeah, totally. Okay, looks like we're done. Rest of your questions you can post in the comments below, and I will answer all of the questions probably tomorrow morning. I have all my guests are coming in tomorrow, so I'm going to have a really busy week. So the Facebook Lives will be hit or miss. If you want to pull the Facebook Live schedule, go to andreacox.com. After you sign up for my newsletter, if you're not already signed up, you can go to the blog. Okay, what's your take on flax seeds? Well, I don't take them. And my take on them is, you know, any experience with, no, never heard of that supplement company. Jeffrey, the only supplements I take are my own. My own and Dr. Jubb's Live Colloid, which I also sell on my site. And then, you know, like medicinal mushrooms. That's it. So anything I take is on andreacox.com in my shop. So just so you guys know, because quite honestly, I don't trust a lot of people's products. I don't. Okay, so what's my take on flax? Okay, so flax can go rancid very easily, along with all of the seeds, nuts, things of that nature. So you want to be really, really, really careful that you're getting your flax from a good source. Another thing I don't trust, and I don't recommend people do, but I did it for years when I first went vegan, is doing the flax oil, thinking you're doing something good for your body by using flax oil. There's really, so let me put it like this, especially for women, there's really not a need, you're not lacking anything you're going to get from oil. So oil is basically an overt fat. So an overt fat means like we have avocados and then we have avocado oils. We have walnuts and then we have walnut oil. We have coconuts and then we have coconut oil. An overt fat is not friendly to a woman's body at all. It can oftentimes, the cellulite, the inner thigh nonsense that women get, the fat on their bellies, the cellulite they get is from eating too many overt fats and misfood combining. So we want to be really, really careful when we combine foods, and we want to be really, really careful when we're using oils. Men can get away with a little more oil. But here's another thing, folks. You know, you got to be really, really careful when you purchase olive oils these days. Olive oil is not made the same way it used to be made even 5 years ago. There's all kinds of stuff going around everywhere, even on Facebook, about how olive oils, like, you know, a lot of them now, unless they're like straight from Italy, you know, are like 30% olive oil, and then they've got added oils in there. So, you know, you want to make sure things don't have like soybean oil or canola oil or anything like that. What about chia seeds? Okay, well, here's the thing with chia seeds. God, I don't want to confuse you, because these are little things, and the most important thing to remember is going plant-based, getting rid of the dairy, getting rid of the dead animals. And, you know, I see a lot on the internet, like, you know, a lot of people like, I finally got comfortable with knowing what my body needs, you know, like, you know, like, fuck you vegans. And it's like, you know what? Nobody's body needs dead, decomposing animals. No one's. You're just doing it wrong. You're just doing it wrong. No one's body needs that shit. So it's like people who are like, oh, I'm fine with gluten. Yeah, but you really don't need it, you know, or, oh, GMO foods are fine. Yeah, but you don't know what's going to happen 10 years from now with that. Nobody needs to be eating dead, decomposing animals or their byproducts. It leads to degenerative diseases, it leads to premature aging, it leads to alopecia or hair falling out and everything like that. We need to really get straight with the diet. And if you're having a problem when you go vegan, or you're like, oh, I just felt so tired, or I felt, do I look tired? No. You know, anything like that, then you need to hit the juicer. You need to detox the colon. You're just doing it wrong. You need to do a little detox. You need to go on andreacox.com and get the digital detox that's in my shop, or something of that nature. So here's the thing about chia seeds, though. So this is kind of like after you are plant-based, after you want to make sure chia seeds is on Dr. I can't even think of his name, his list of foods that a lot of people are actually allergic to. He lists all the nightshades on there. The nightshades, and maybe that's why, the nightshades are things like tomatoes, potatoes, blueberries are actually a nightshade, goji berries are actually a nightshade, full of health benefits, but still nightshade vegetables. So, you know, if you have any food allergies, you want to really be careful with seeds, nuts, grains, things like that. I personally think seeds are much easier to digest. I don't mind chia seeds at all. Than nuts. Nuts are very hard on a woman's body, very hard. Too many nuts make us nuts, and too many nuts really put it on women's hips and thighs. You know, I've worked with women for years, and my client's here early. One of my clients is here early, so that's great. I worked with women for years, and nuts are always the thing they have a problem with. So I've never met a woman or worked with a woman that can stop at a tablespoon of nuts or a serving of nuts. They always want to eat the whole bag. And the reason is because nuts and seeds are estrogenic. They produce estrogen in the body. So it makes us want more and more and more. It's feeding our estrogen stores. But what else does estrogen feed? Remember, there's good estrogen and bad estrogen. I don't want to confuse you guys anymore. I think I've covered enough today. As bad as my neck hurts, I think I did a pretty good job at answering everyone's questions. I'm Andrea Cox. Thank you so much for joining me. I greatly appreciate each and every one of you. Sign up for my newsletter on andreacox.com. We've got a new website coming out too that's going to be a little bit different, but I think you guys are all going to gravitate toward. Thank you so much, you guys. Be well.